I am uncomfortably excited for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Okay, we're still a couple of weeks away, and I've taken every opportunity that I can to make mention of this. I just want it to be good. I want it to be good so bad because it's been, well, since the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2020, since I've actually gave a crap about anything coming out in the video game industry, and I'm trying to purposefully avoid any spoilers, any details about this game because I want to go in blind like I did with Remake, and I had such a great time just absorbing all of that. And thankfully, thanks to a smoking good deal, I got the PS5 secured. I've got my my physical deluxe edition on the way. It will be here February 29th. I've got plans set aside for myself to go ahead and go through that entire project all the way up to and through my birthday in the first, well, I guess it would be technically the first full week of March, where I can go ahead and play through the normal campaign, play through the hard campaign, 100% that, and you know, I've got some lofty ideas over the top of that, and maybe, just go ahead and throw that out there to the people that are watching right now. You might see a really, if I can go ahead and figure this stuff out, if I can, you know, acquire the skills to do a really quality review that is up to my standards, I might see a different side of content from me, something of a even higher caliber. But we'll see. I'm just throwing that out there, just seeing if anybody is interested in that and if I can go ahead and figure it all out. But that is all prefaced on this game being great. And, well, if you're watching any other type of content that I put out there on a daily basis, you'll know that, you know, I like to call out snowflakes on both sides of the aisle. It's always easy to dunk on leftists that are just being hyperbolic about everything. We could do that until the cows come home. And thankfully, we won't be seeing any of those, maybe outside of Kate Sith. Yeah, and I say Sith, I know it's Seath, but go to hell. In Rebirth. But the amount of people that just want to cry, woke, whenever they have the opportunity over there on the right side of the aisle, especially when it comes to gaming and entertainment. There's a reason that conservatives so thoroughly lost the culture war before they started to take a reinterest in it, is because of attitudes like this. From what I see, and frankly, I have been trying to take a step back, but hearing just tangentially some interviews and then just seeing what people are taking offense to, I look at this stuff and then couple that with what they were critiquing Final Fantasy VII Remake with. Oh, the game went woke because Tifa has an undershirt and her boobs got smaller. It's like, are you guys, are you well? Are you well? Did you play the game? Did you realize that every character was faithfully adapted and rendered to the best of Square's abilities? It was one of the most thorough and faithful recreation of the characters. What they did with the story, I know a lot of people have concerns about, oh, I don't like the whispers, I just wanted a remake. Oh, you just wanted a remaster. Go ahead and use your words carefully. Use them appropriately as well. You knew they were changing up the graphical style. They were changing up the combat system. Hell, the development cycle on this had changed multiple times over. When it was first announced, Final Fantasy VII Remake, it was supposed to be the entire game. The original 1997 classic was supposed to be redone in the style that we're seeing with Remake, Rebirth, and ultimately, now that it's been confirmed that it's going to be a 3-part trilogy, a 3-part retelling of this story, hitting some of the plot beats, which I'm going to be interested to see how far they actually take Rebirth, because I had some ideas that maybe it's like, okay, if you're going to go ahead and hit most of the story beats like you did with telling Midgar's story with the remake, okay, if you're going to try to tell everything in 3 games, oh boy, and you only have 2 of them left, and realistically, like the Midgar stuff, your first trek in Midgar, not the return and, you know, later stages of Disc 2, but you still have like 85% of the game, okay, and you're going to try to do that in 2 games, and I understand that, you know, Rebirth is going to be 2 discs, and it's supposed to have 100+ hours of content, which, oh, please, and I hope it's all of that same high quality that you had before, but I've heard some things that they're only going to be going to the Forgotten Capital, Now, I know what that is, okay? That's the City of the Ancients. So, are you going to go that far? And we know what would be the story beat that you're going to end on as your cliffhanger right there. It's one of the most iconic scenes in all of video games. If you don't know, well, it's a spoiler from way back in the cut, but if that's what they're going to end up going on. But then again, like I said, I've been trying to avoid a lot of the material that's out there, but I've also seen some stills or some pictures from some of the events that are out there, which also kind of leads me to believe that maybe they're going to go as far as I thought they would by going up to the northern crater for the first time and then ending the game right there so that you can immediately begin it right there at Junion, and then just continuing the story that ended up playing out, at least in the original, with, about 2/3 of disc 2 and then all of disc 3 remaining, which that would have been a nice stopping point, because then, yeah, you would have been able to just cut everything right down the middle. And hopefully we wouldn't have to wait 4 years for Reunion to come out, but we'll see how they're going to play this, because as you've seen, and if you were in on Remake to begin with, that yeah, they completely and totally blew out the whole Midgar section, made it into an entire 40-hour game. There were plans at the beginning to make this also, okay, outside of just doing one full game as a complete and total remake of the entire story, it was going to be episodic, but thanks to Tetsuya Nomura getting kicked off the project, that absolute hack, go back to ruining Kingdom Hearts, it ended up getting chopped up into more clearly defined games. But the whole episodic thing, that would have required, speedy releases of games, but there's no way in hell, unless you're talking about Biden's overall life cycle, that 4 years is anywhere close to approaching a tight release window. But you can tell. You can definitely tell that was the next thing that was up after they realized that, oh my god, development on this is taking way too long. So, yeah, okay, let's just bust this up. I would imagine there was probably plans for, 5, maybe 7 games if we're really talking about this, because there's just so little of the actual overall story that is told in Remake, although I do like it a lot and what they're doing by changing up a couple of the story beats. Potentially, I've got some theories. I got a lot of theory crafting that will go over the top of that, but I'll save that for a later date, because I got spoilers running through my head, and then also what they could do and how they're going to take this story, what's going to happen with the ultimate dismissal, and then the old classic trope from Final Fantasy overall, and just the series in general, of bucking the confines of fate and carving your own path. What could ultimately end up happening in the City of the Ancients once they get there, and if they do, I'm going to absolutely scream to the heavens, because I don't want that to happen. But we'll see. Because we're still a couple of weeks away, a couple of long weeks away. February 29th can't come here soon enough. So, mostly to just go ahead and put all of these boys who cried woke to bed, because if this is what you're complaining about, if this is what you're trying to hold up, that, oh, Square Enix's ethics department strikes again, oh, the woke police are out there, they're trying to take away sexiness from our video games. It's like, bro, I pointed this out. It's like, they're probably going to make a change to it, and guess what? They did. If they would have just completely gotten rid of it, or if they would have chastised Cloud for going through on the Nibelheim flashback in order to acquire the useless key item. You remember, it had absolutely no value at all whatsoever. Going through Tifa's drawers in her house during the Nibelheim flashback, get her orthopedic underwear. It was just a little joke that was down there. I mean, yeah, if they're going to be making changes to anything, ones that people would end up taking offense to, but then in the overall grand scheme of things, not really amounting to all that much, that's what they would change. And guess what? They did. Oh my god, they censored the panty scene. There's not really a big panty scene. It was orthopedic underwear. That's what it was called. It wasn't orthopedic panties. Okay, there you can see it. Orthopedic underwear. I remember that screen time and time again, because controversially, that's like my least favorite part of the entire story. The game only starts to get good once you have the opportunity to go down to the Chocobo farm, and then you can cross the swamp with the Midgar Zolom. But at least you can go ahead and, get through this stupid flashback to begin with. But it could be blown out like Final Fantasy Remake, but hopefully it's more like, the overall extrapolation on the story, like what they did with the Shinra Tower in Remake, and less what they did with the train graveyard. I love that game, but there's some parts, and especially become, very apparent, and even though I kind of had these ideas in the back of my mind to begin with, but there's some parts that really do drag, and that train graveyard stuff is really annoying, just kind of like what it was with the original game to begin with. But anyways, another day, another developer deferring to overtly puritanical sensitivities of Western activists. Oh my god. And you guys, I love you bounding into comics, but every once in a while you have a swing and a miss. This time it has been confirmed that, in a disappointing deviation from the game's original release, yeah, you're probably the same people that were crying, woke, we just wanted a remaster, we just wanted to have that same great story that we had, we just wanted to have it updated with modern graphics. You can do the exact same thing by just applying mods to the original game. If you want to do it, it's right there. It has been for years. I played through a great one back in the cut with very realistic, very updated graphics, not the chibi graphics that you see right there, but fully fledged, fully rendered 3D models. It was great. It was a lot of fun. You can go ahead and do that right now. They're telling a different story, which I thought that's what people wanted. You wanted to go ahead and take those same characters that you know and love, and very much so during Remake, they were very much those characters. They were set in a story that definitely hit the similar beats, but they're trying to tell a different story, which I do appreciate, because as somebody who has played the original at least a dozen times all the way through, not even my favorite Final Fantasy game, by the way, okay? It's what, top 3, but it's not number 1. I can guarantee that. I want to see those characters in a similar but different story. Surprise me with your story. Tell a good story like you did with Remake. Please, please let Rebirth be good. But yes, the upcoming Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has cut the feature, the comedic scene wherein Cloud takes a specific souvenir from Tifa's underwear drawer. Now, to be fair, he takes the orthopedic underwear, and isn't there like a cut to black after this, and then Tifa just derides Cloud. It's like, what are you doing in my bedroom? And it wasn't really all that comedic. It was just kind of like a one-liner, but the best that you could do, because, well, no voice acting. It was 97 at the time, right? As seen in the PS1 version of the fan favorite RPG, the sequence, yes, in question plays out as part of Cloud's flashback to his very first trip back to the hometown of Nibelheim, following his enlistment, in Shinra's soldier organization. Sure thing. If you know, you know, and if you don't, well, we got more stuff here. Therein, he recalls to the group that at one point during his visit, he made a stop over at the home of his childhood friend and current party member Tifa, only to discover that she was not currently available. That's not illustrated at all. That's just part of the gameplay, where you can go into everybody's house. You can go into Cloud's house. You can go into the Nibelheim mansion. You can go into Tifa's house as well. You can go upstairs. You can bang along on the piano that's upstairs that only becomes relevant in the late game, so that you can get a key so that when you go back, and then you also do you get the Sector 5 key so you can go back into Midgar, so that you can eventually come back around to the wall market, and then you can have another key. I think that's where you get it from, so that you can get Tifa's, is it ultimate weapon or is it her ultimate limit break? I think you get premium heart. I think you get her ultimate limit, the level 4 limit break at the gun machine that's down there. I think so. But yeah, it's one of those gameplay things. It's not explicated at all. Taken aback by this reveal, the Cloud's surprised but untimely, unproductive attempt to see her, Tifa then begins to press Cloud on just what he got up to in his absence, to which, based on player choice, he can admit to having not spent that much time alone in her house, but also to rummaging around her belongings. This includes her wardrobe, which upon interaction, the player, yes, this is the actual part, the player bestows upon a pair of orthopedic underwear, the implication being that the blonde-haired protagonist has chosen to secretly steal her undergarments. And then I think it's just for the duration of the flashback, they're in your key items. And then also, if you had a Game Shark at the time, you could hack it, and if you had all key items, then you had the orthopedic underwear. But okay. In response to this admission, Cloud chastises the hero, belting Cloud at the top of her lungs. Text form, obviously, it's in caps lock, just like that. From there, the player can choose to reply with one of 3 options: it's true, just kidding, or don't get mad, all of which draw the same urging from Tifa. Cloud, we're talking about something really important here. And then, yeah, you get back to the context of being young Cloud, going through Nibelheim, waiting for Sephiroth to just burn everything down. Anyways, and unfortunately for fans, this moment has been censored in the upcoming Rebirth. Censored or updated, but in a good way. Per the games, have recently released the demo, which I'm not playing at all, unless there's going to be some sort of benefit for the full release of the game. I'm not playing it. I want to experience it the moment I put that disc in the tray. I don't want to deal with this at all. Following the inspection of the wardrobe, rather than the risque gift, which did nothing in the game to begin with, Cloud is instead met with a question from Tifa. You went through my stuff. Interesting. Following along close with the story at hand. Should the players answer in the affirmative, the flashback Cloud will peek his head inside the wardrobe, while his present-day self positively answers, no, I shouldn't have. In turn, Tifa chastises Cloud for being joined in by Aerith with a duet of "You asshole." That's funny. I think that's funny because that's like that is a realistic response. You went through my stuff? Oh, you asshole! What the hell are you doing? And it's definitely within the character of Aerith, and it's definitely within the character of Tifa as presented in Remake. Nothing seems off-brand here. It also doesn't seem off-brand from the original characters back in '97. Come on, man. These are the same people that were taking offense to, the developers and the programmers said that they didn't want to talk, or they had a ham-fisted approach to social and political issues all the way back then. They wish I had the opportunity to change them. And the same people that are also crying woke because of, uglifying characters. Did those look ugly? They look ugly to you. In what realm of possibility are those uglified? Yuffie actually looks like somebody that I would put into my party, unironically, this time around. I still have to get around to playing Intermission or Intergrade. Let's probably get the Yuffie expansion, the Yuffie DLC, okay? I finally got it. Like I said, finally got the PS5. I'm going to be able to go through that before the release. I'm going to go ahead and 100% that and all that stuff because that's the way that I play video games. We'll see if it's good or not. It's weird because I didn't really hear anything about the DLC. I remember it being announced, but I never really heard anybody either enjoy it, deride it, or anything like that. It's so strange. But anyways, that's what they're complaining about. That's what they're complaining about. But yes, unfortunately, this change comes as no surprise given the confirmed existence of the company's notorious ethics department. And well, we do have a good development on this one, which, per the description of her work provided by an employee, ensures that all game expressions, including scenarios, illustrations, designs, and effects, to ensure that they do not contain expressions that are discriminatory, prejudicial, or offensive, and that they are in compliance with the game rating. We are involved in the game from the planning stage and continuously check the game as it progresses through development, which gives us a great sense of accomplishment when the game is successfully launched. The ethics team's job is to make corrections to what the developers have seriously created. Which, yes, you hear ethics in games, then all of a sudden you want to just jump to, oh my god, they're sticking their chick in it and they're making her lame. And well, the person that has been singled out as being on the Square Enix ethics team, well, here's her profile. As I've singled out learning the law has figured out, okay, that was some of the transcript that ended up getting translated over that you can see right there. Apparently it says 2016 right there, so been a part of the company, the Japanese division, since 2016, so would have definitely encompassed, if that's what we're reading correctly right there, would have been a part of the creation of Remake, which was woke free. Absolutely. Cloud has 3 bitches pining after him throughout the entire game. I don't even know like what to say. And all of them are sexy in their own unique ways. Like, if that's what you're looking for in the game, I'm just looking for a good story and good characters, and that's what we got. And you guys just need to chill the fuck out for a second. But then after all this stuff started to come to light, that page ended up getting taken down. The page you're looking for may no longer be available. The URL, may have been entered incorrectly. So it's interesting, which shows you one of the Japanese members of their ethical department bragging about censorship. That was the part that we read before. Feel free to go ahead and peruse it at your own leisure. The department is still working. This is damage control. The global Japanese companies are no different than the United States. They are bad faith actors. But they're taking measures to go ahead and get rid of these departments, because if people don't like them, and the Final Fantasy games, very costly. I don't know what the budget for Rebirth is, but I'd imagine it's probably somewhere in the same realm as Final Fantasy 16, which sold gangbusters, by the way, and I heard nothing but glowing reviews from that. Nothing woke about that at all whatsoever, and hell, even pushed back a bunch of people that were trying to say there wasn't diverse enough, and they're like, no, we're telling a Northern European story, so like it or lump it, and sold millions of copies, but apparently wasn't good enough for Square Enix, and now they're fast tracking a PC port, which, okay, cool, fantastic, man. I'd be down for that. But if that's the track record that we have, even with this ethics department over the top, maybe ethics in Japan, the most anti-woke nations on the face of the earth, doesn't quite mean the same thing that it does over here in the West. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the best because I desperately want this to be good. And everything that I see in my limited exposure, purposefully limited exposure, leads me to believe that we're going to be in for something special at the end of the month. Maybe I'm just, really leaning into my biases on this one. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.